He's a fantastic hockey player, fantastic kid. He fits a little bit of the Bruins identity for sure. He's a little bit undersized, but he makes up for it in compete and skill. And he's one of those guys. I think for us, we're definitely going to keep an eye on. I'm sure there's other teams that are going to keep their eye on. I don't think it's a big secret, but fantastic player. I've been really impressed with him.
It's kind of hard to tell in these settings who can really play the physical game, but from your eye, who do you see as projects maybe as that kind of either forward or defenseman?
Yeah, I think there's a couple kids out there. I think that's a little bit of their identity. Obviously, some of the kids I've seen on video, some of them I haven't, so I have a little bit of an idea. But Edward from London Knights is a guy that plays a physical style of hockey. Riley Duran, I think, is going to be one of those guys. I've been really impressed with him as a kid and a player. I think, he's in a great program at Providence College, and he's going to grow that part of his game. But, I think the one thing we had this week is the identity of the Bruins has been pretty evident with Quater. I think, we're looking for guys with ultra competitive spirits and courage. And, the one thing I think we've been very transparent with the fellas here is that, it's a big part of being a Bruin. So hopefully they all bring it.
What are your thoughts of Jelvik and his skill level?
Just huge improvements. I know I got a call from Paul Carey during the year. He played a couple games with them, and Paul's somebody I really respect his opinion, and he was really impressed with the kid, and obviously I kept an eye on him. And then obviously in camp, I thought he's been outstanding. He's you can see a lot of the skill level on some of the players, especially some of the European players. I think it's a little bit of a common denominator how skilled some of these kids are that are coming from across the pond. So he's one guy. I think he's got a real bright future.
I was just talking to Greenway about trying to make the transition from D to forward. Talk about what the challenges are there anyway at large and specifically for him.
Well, the one thing with JD is he's super athletic, and I think not to compare him to his brother, but they have very similar traits. They skate the same way. They protect the puck the same way. He's long. I think for him, it's going to be an adjustment for sure. I think there's things in his game that he does really well. There's things we got to work on, and that's what the American League's about is building that identity, building that consistency, and he's a guy that's going to have a lot of reps to get acclimated to playing forward. But we're committed to the time with JD, and he's committed to putting in the time as well.
You said he had a couple of games there last year?
He had a couple games, yeah, and he was effective, and that's where it kind of came from. We're a little heavy on the left side, so we wanted him to get some minutes, and he's a physical specimen. He's intimidating that way, and that's another thing that some of our guys got to grow into and be a little uncomfortable doing it. And I think he's kind of gotten over that a little bit, and he understands that he's a big physical guy, and he needs to play like that all the time.
How is he on leg speed and shot?
It's getting there. He's getting there. I think from a skill standpoint, he's a little bit behind where he probably needs to be. But that's what the summers are for, and that's what training camp and the American League are about is working on the mechanics of getting better.
Thoughts on Beecher in terms of working with him last year and also maybe being a little more of sort of a leader, in a camp like this, given his experience level in the game?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Beach, even when he came to us at the end of the season. It's a tough thing to step right in, especially in the heat of the moment in the American League. There's a lot of movement, and we had at that time a lot of opportunity to play, and he played a lot of minutes, a lot of heavy minutes. Obviously, his skating stands out right away. He's going to have to develop different ways to score, and that is what the American League is about. Think about some of the players, even that we've had, even with Boston, like Taylor Hall. I think I don't know how many years he is into his career, but he found a way to score different ways last year, and I think he's a great example for Beach, who's relied a lot on his legs to create and score. He's going to have to find different ways, and I think he's committed to that. But he's put in a lot of time in Michigan. He's working with Jack Studnicka. So I talked to Studs quite a bit, so he's keeping a good close eye on him. And Studs is a guy that works his tail off as a student of the game. And we had a good chat about Beach the other day, and he's like he's been impressed with his work ethic and his commitment to the game.
On the leadership angle, that's one of the things McLaughlin was talking about today, trying to be a leader here. What do you see in his game and kind of the steps he's taken over the last couple months?
Well, it's funny. We talked about, two guys being in the room in development camp last year that played in the National Hockey League, and obviously, he was one of them. That stands out for me right away about him. Just rubbing shoulders with him. He's a born leader. Super committed to the game. I think that's a huge part of it. But he's guys that lead. It's second nature for him. I think. I've been around guys that have learned to grow into their leadership. I think he's well ahead of the curve for sure.
You mentioned Studnicka. I know he's not here this season, but where do you see his game at heading into this season?
Well, Studs is a young pro. He's still on his entry level contract, and if you look around the league, it's a tough league. And for me, Studs, there was a time during the season, Studs came down and he was our best player, our go-to guy, which we expect from him. His game's maturing, it's rounding out. He's got to watch the puck go in the net. He's got to get touches. He's got to play with confidence. He's done everything we've ever asked him to do. We asked him to get bigger. We asked him to get stronger. He's done those things. Now it's his time, right? Now it's his time to make those things go to work. He's another kid like a Trent Frederick, like a Jack Studnicka. Everybody roots for. He's just a special kid, and I think he's got a great future.
Georgie Merkulov admitted himself yesterday he has work to do defensively. How do you work to develop that part of his game without sacrificing too much offense?
Well, he's ahead of the curve already by just identifying it, and I don't think it's any secret that that's never been his strongest quality. But for us, we want guys to play to their strengths. The defensive side of it can come. Those are teachable moments. Those are teachable things. I think with a guy like Merkulov, you're going to have to live with some of the deficiencies, especially early on. We know that he's not the first player to play for us that has warts defensively. For me, those are fixable things. What he does offensively and his gift and his creativity and his vision, makes him a special player. So defensively, as a coach, those are very teachable moments for a player like Georgia.
What have you thought this week? First look at Petraglia, the second round pick.
I've known him for quite a while. He used to come to our hockey school, so it's kind of dating me a little bit. And I asked him if he remembered me, because I didn't really remember him, and he said, I remember Keith and Wayne Primo. So the two guys that were never on the ice at the hockey school, so I don't know what that means. But I just said to Ryan Nadeau how smart he is right off the hop. So I'm not going to lie to you, I follow the OHL quite closely just because I've got a lot of friends that coach in the league. A lot of my buddies' kids play in the league. So I've been following them. They did a real good job with that pick. He's going to be a good player. And they got a new coach going in there in Guelph, Scotty Walker, who will help grow his offensive game. He's going to be awesome for him. Scotty's a fantastic guy. So I'm excited for him. Yeah, his maturity. He's a super mature kid. He's obviously got leadership qualities as well. He was a great captain. Talked to Ron Rolston at length about the person, the kid. Super committed to the game. Very bright. Again, a guy that needs to marinate a little bit in the American League, get his details where they need to be. But we did a real good job of identifying the character and the player. So. Excited about his game. He's going to get some heavy minutes for us. He ended up playing a lot of minutes, probably too many minutes, just because of the way things kind of panned out. We had a lot of guys up, a lot of guys injured, and it was a great opportunity for some of those guys to get their feet wet in the American League.
One of the things that Jamie Langford talked about this week was players, they have a lot of downtime, right? Like, what do you encourage in terms of in-season, the schedule is the way it is, and you have after practice, a lot of guys are, what do you encourage in terms of free time, how to spend it?
Well, it's funny. I said to the guys today, a lot of the kids, college kids are going back to school, and I played major junior, and the summers were very important to me, and to see my friends and my family, and for them, for us, especially in Providence, we really encourage the guys to get out and see the city. We're in a fantastic spot, especially, yesterday we went to the Tall Ship, and like for some of the kids that are in junior, they're like, this is amazing. Why didn't I go to school here in Boston? But it's funny how some kids' interests are different around, especially kind of coming up. We have some kids that, lock themselves in their apartment and play video games, and it's just changed so much from year to year that I've seen. So it's going to be a real focus for us as a group. I think our staff, we got to do probably a better job of encouraging it and setting things up because guys are so used to being in a routine. So that's one thing we encourage is the guys to get out and see the city. I mean, Providence, it's a fantastic. Boston, it's a train ride away. I don't know how safe I feel with some of these guys on the train. They might end up somewhere we don't want them. But yeah, it's a good discussion point for sure.
Is that important for them kind of coming out of the pandemic too? They've come up, kind of locked down, right?
Yeah, and it's funny. Like I was talking to the staff a little bit about, we do a real good job of keeping in touch with guys in the summer with Zooms and just reaching out. And I just remember like during the pandemic, like it was such a focus to keep guys engaged. And for me and everybody else too, it was different. And I think this year was